first date, a Friday night drink at the pub that turned into going for a green chicken curry, finishing up with a decent pash under the romantic glow of a purple neon sign that read "Tie Me a River" while Willa waited for her Uber, was better than most, and she'd had no hesitation in agreeing to a dinner at his flat the following week. He'd cooked spaghetti bolognese, which was what men cooked on second dates when they wanted to show you they were down to earth and capable in the kitchen. It was meant to hint at a steady domestic future, even if they were no more interested in a long-term arrangement than they were in hearing the finer details of Willa's job. They did it to give the impression they had so many other dishes in their repertoires that sometimes they just wanted to make a good old-fashioned spag bowl. It generally turned out that all the other dishes in their repertoires were toast. While no match for Kat's cooking, Anders' effort had been a 7 out of 10 bolognese, which, paired with a decent Shiraz, in glasses that were almost bigger than the pasta bowls, was good enough to lead to kissing, which was 8 out of 10 kissing, which was good enough to lead to stripping off together and heading into the shower. Something to do with a spill and a joke about cleaning them both up. The shower had also been a solid 8 out of 10, heading in the direction of 9, when, after a few minutes of kissing and giggling as the water heated up, Anders had stepped out onto the bath mat and said with a cheeky grin, "Wait right here and don't start without me." Willa had been unbelievably turned on, anticipating his return with more wine or condoms or, in an ideal world, both. But he'd reappeared with their empty bowls and dirty forks stacked inside the pan he'd cooked the sauce in, all resting inside a larger pan that was coated with stuck-on strands of pasta caused by not stirring enough. He'd put the messy little can down carefully on the tiled floor of the shower recess. It was then that Willa had noticed, lined up alongside his shampoo, conditioner, body wash and shaving cream, a bottle of lemon-fresh fairy liquid. On hearing this now, Kat laughed so hard she almost snorted sauce out of her nose. She took a gulp of wine, which she also choked on. "He what?" she spluttered. "I know." Willa scrunched up her face in embarrassment at the memory. "Kat, it was so horrible. He wanted to make the washing up part of the foreplay." "Did you say, 'That's not the dirty fork in the shower I was hoping for'?" "Of course I didn't. No one thinks of things like that in the moment. I was paralysed with horror. I didn't know what to do." "Then what happened?" asked Kat, wiping mascara from under her eyes where it always migrated when she laughed hard. "What did he say?" "He said, 'Now, where were we?' You know, all waggly eyebrows. And I asked what the fuck, in a manner of speaking, and he told me he considered washing his dishes in the shower to be the ultimate inefficient living, and that living efficiently from both a time and resources point of view was very sexy. And I told him, no, it wasn't. I told him that seeing someone you were about to have sex with poking a bit of cooked carrot down the drain with his big toe was very much the opposite of sexy. I got out and got dressed." "What did he do? Did he stay in there and wash the dishes?" Kat wanted more. "He didn't. Did he?" Willa bowed her head solemnly and took a deep breath. "He did. I waited in the living room for a few minutes because it seemed rude to actually run away, but he was still in there and I could hear, noises from the forks and pots on the tiles and stuff, so in the end I just let myself out and walked home." Kat chewed her lip. "I think, this is going to be hard for you to hear, that Anders is not the right man for you." Willa faked a sob. "You may be right. Back on the express bus to Swipetown for me. I think you'd have more luck if you were clearer about what you want," said Kat. "Did you really think Anders was a likely candidate even before the shower?" Honestly, thought Willa, no. She knew she wanted to fall in love and be loved. That was simple enough. She just didn't want a love that turned her into a possession. Being tied to someone by law seemed deeply unappealing. She would prefer a love where both parties were there only because they couldn't be without the other, and they chose to remain every day. She didn't want a relationship where she would eventually become invisible or bored. Her great love needed to be someone who intrigued and amused her, someone who she could wake up next to and learn more and more about with every passing day. He must contain multitudes.